In this episode, we head to the harbor in Ventura, California. It was there, back in 1994, that married couple Makis and Lynn decided to open up Greek at the harbor. It was an instant success at first, with Makis' immigrant mentality and work ethic helping pave the way. His American dream was fulfilled. Fast forward to 2011, and there are many problems. Makis is burnt out.
He's been working 365 days a year for 17 years. He's just burning out from being here so long.
The food quality has dropped.
I don't like this. You don't like it?
The veggies came out raw, and then I brought out more and they were still raw.
Customers are not as frequent. To make matters worse, there's tension between him and his son Aris, who serves as the manager. Makis doesn't want his help or to let him be anywhere near the kitchen.
It's almost like I'm not good enough for him.
With no progress, Lynn is fearing the worst. Can Chef Ramsay help turn things around for Greek at the harbor? When Gordon first arrives outside the restaurant, he is blown away at how beautiful the setting is. Located on the waterfront boardwalk of Ventura, California, Ramsay wonders how any restaurant could fail in this location. Our favorite chef walks in and is greeted by Lynn, Makis, and Aris. The first thing is to sit down with the family to find out exactly what has gone wrong at the restaurant. Makis reveals things started to take a turn for the worse in the last few years, and they're not making profits anymore. Gordon is also shocked to learn that Makis works 14 hours a day, 7 days a week. Tensions then start to boil when Gordon quizzes Makis on whether there's a succession plan in place. Makis clearly has no intention of having Aris take over. He's not a control freak either, or so he says. He simply believes Aris hasn't shown enough commitment. You can feel the tension between father and son. There is a lot of pent-up emotions at play there. Aris, however, assures Gordon that he is committed to saving the restaurant and wants to learn how to cook great dishes. Speaking of dishes, Makis rates his food a 10 out of 10. That should certainly make Gordon's taste test interesting. Gordon gets seated, meets his waiter, and places his order. While Gordon waits for his dishes, he notices the hideous decor, bland tablecloths, and even some out-of-place disco balls. Not what you'd expect in a Greek restaurant, that's for sure. Regardless, Gordon gets his first dish, which is the golden calamari. It doesn't look the best as it's extremely oily, and after a few bites, Gordon has it sent back. Makis learns of Gordon's feedback, and surprise, surprise, he's delusional, saying people love it. Next up is the cold meze platter, and Gordon is not impressed with the hummus one bit as it's shockingly watery. Certainly not the consistency of a typical hummus, as Gordon mockingly uses a straw to taste it.
Greek dips. It looks like 6 plates of Greek dog shit.
The cold meze platter didn't fare well, but what about the hot meze platter? Nope, it's also not tasty and is once again sent back.
A taste of grease. Yeah, a taste of greasy.
Finally, there's the beef moussaka, and while it looked decent enough, the taste was anything but, with Gordon complaining it was severely undercooked. In fact, Gordon labels it an insult to any Greek aisle, and wants to talk to all the chefs in the kitchen. He rips into the food, and one of the chefs actually agrees that it's terrible, which shocks Gordon even further. That said, the chef, who hails from Greece, blames it on having to follow Makis' way rather than the way he made food back home. Gordon then questions whether Makis has simply given up. Makis denies this, and once again boasts about how thousands of people love his calamari. Gordon tells him to get real. He also hits Makis with a dagger, saying that he has somehow made Greek food worse in the States. Makis doesn't seem accepting of his criticism, as he maintains his customers love his food. As the saying goes, it's time to put the money where your mouth is. The customers flock in for dinner service amid the buzz of Chef Ramsay's presence. But first, Gordon must do a kitchen inspection. Gordon is introduced to Makis' daughter, Marika, who works as a server and takes care of the POS system. Yet, she has her doubts as to whether Gordon can really help.
I think Chef Ramsay doesn't know what he's stepping into. My dad is just like really set in his ways.
Gordon goes on to learn that food is prepared in advance. That means it's all left out there to dry out before it's served to the customers. The advantage of that is that food gets served out quickly. Whether it's returned as quickly, we shall see. But before that, Gordon sees another instance of tension between father and son.
All right, let's keep going.
Everything all right back here?
Get out.
Mikey clearly doesn't want Aris anywhere near the kitchen. Aris believes his father is physically worn out, but just doesn't want to listen due to how stubborn he is. As for the customers, you guessed it, they don't like the food, and it's all being sent back quickly. Aris offers a helping hand, but Mikey simply sends his son away.
Dad, how you doing?
Don't bother me. Go dance, go.
Aris does just that, along with a belly dancer, as Gordon's jaw can only drop, and not in the way you'd usually imagine. But Aris does more than just dance. It turns out he can bite a dinner table and lift it as well, which is part of a traditional Greek table dance.
Finally, something edible.
It's impressive enough to distract the diners from the poor food for the moment, but the complaints eventually resume, and Mikey continues to be delusional. When a customer complains of food not being cooked, he remains insistent that it's fine, which leads to Gordon going as far as calling him sick. Mikey clearly can't take criticism, and even asking for help is seen as a failure for him. He leaves for his office with his chin down, showing some real emotion for once. Marika is devastated to see her father being sad. She consoles him. Gordon tries to give him a pep talk and confronts him about being more honest with himself, especially with why he refuses to teach Aris anything. Mikey remains tight-lipped as Aris later joins them. Gordon has given up trying to get answered, so he lets them both sit down and air out their grievances. Aris states that he doesn't want him to struggle anymore and wants to help. Mikey repeats the same old stuff about wanting him to be ready first. Aris leaves, clearly feeling unwanted, and it's hurting him deep down. The sun shines on a new day, and with no answers for this bizarre situation, Gordon turns to the mother, Lynn. It turns out there's a twist in this Greek tale. When Aris graduated from college, he had a party with his friends at the restaurant. During his speech, Aris declared that he would make something of his life and would not be working in the restaurant business, implying such a task was beneath him. Gordon was shocked upon hearing this. Talk about being grateful. Mikey has been holding that against Aris ever since, and for once, we can actually sympathize with the father. But it's time for the popcorn as Mikey and Aris arrive at the restaurant and get seated to hear what Gordon has to say. Gordon confronts Aris about the terrible thing he said and how he insulted what his parents had worked so hard to build. Unsurprisingly, Mikey admits that the comments hurt him. Aris explains himself, stating that he was simply confused at the time and didn't want to end up killing himself at the restaurant. Gordon directs him to say what he wants to his parents and leaves to give them a bit of privacy. A tearful Lynn reciprocates Mikey's feelings, saying how hurtful his comments were, which eventually leads to a heartfelt apology from Aris. The family hug and embrace each other. For once, things now seem like they will improve. Gordon returns and gets an agreement from both Mikey and Aris that they are committed to the restaurant. They put their hands together at Gordon's request before being handcuffed. They will truly be inseparable in the kitchen now. For the first time, Aris learns how to cook from his dad, starting with traditional Greek pasta. The tension is relieved, and they even had some fun doing it. More than anything, Mikey sees that there is a real passion in Aris when it comes to cooking. Gordon tries the dish, and while it's not outstanding, it's better than anything he's had since arriving. Mikey finally decides to back off a bit and is ready to teach Aris all that he knows, a passing of the torch. Meanwhile, Chef Ramsay and his team take part in a traditional Kitchen Nightmares makeover of the restaurant. The next day, the family is amazed to see the new Greek at the harbor, modernized with a blue design and beautiful sanded and varnished tables. There's Greek windmills on the ceiling and a custom-made Greek flag shutter. The murals on the wall were painted over because, as Ramsay reasoned, why have an image of the harbor when you have the real thing out front? Oh, and no more disco balls. Gordon gets a big, hearty hug from Mikey. But that's not all. Gordon has also redesigned the menu and has had the dishes laid out for everyone. They're mostly the same ones the restaurant already had, but cooked much better, which even Mikey can admit. It's a new era, and it's time to put all the changes to the test, with the customers coming in for the relaunch night. Gordon has assigned Mikey to the salad station, while Aris will serve as the expediter. And while it's his very first time in the role, Aris looks as comfortable as ever. It was almost as if he was made for the role. The orders are flying out, and they all have stellar reviews from the diners. So far, so good. I spoke too soon though. Just as one of the dishes was going out, Gordon noticed that it was cold, and even worse, raw. Gordon rips into the cooks, and does the same to Aris, whom he urges to maintain standards, as he's the one who approves of the dishes going out. Aris takes the criticism well and applies it right away. He directs the cooks, reminding them to slow things down and make sure everything is cooked properly. He's even sending food back to the cooks when it's not done correctly, which is music to Gordon's ears. The night was eventually a success, and there wasn't one complaint about the food. It was a true coming of age for Aris and Mikey, and Mikey couldn't be any prouder of his son. Gordon congratulates the family afterwards, with special praise reserved for Aris. He had never seen anyone do such a great job expediting on their first night, and that's saying something coming from Gordon. The family is united and confident they can be a successful restaurant for the long term. Gordon reflects on the Greek tragedy that he arrived at, but he can now leave with a sense of optimism that the restaurant will go places. We learn that in the days that followed, Aris continued to flourish in his new role by directing the kitchen and maintaining standards. The customers continued flocking in, and Greek at the harbor had reached such a level that Mikey was considering doing something he had never imagined before, retiring. We'll get to that later, but first, what's happened to everyone since? And is the restaurant still in business today? And how did fans react to the episode? The original episode was filmed in August 2011 and aired in October of that same year, as the 7th episode of the 5th season of Kitchen Nightmares. A local film crew was on hand to interview Mikey not long after the Kitchen Nightmares episode was filmed. In the interview, Mikey was asked about what the experience was like, and more specifically, what it was like working with Gordon.
Did you like him?
Did I like him?
Did you like him as a person?
Yeah, he's like a good guy.
Really?
Did you notice a bit of tension there? It seems that not everyone was happy with Chef Ramsay's changes, though. Many long-standing customers voiced their dissatisfaction after Chef Ramsay removed some of the original menu items during the Kitchen Nightmares makeover, prompting Mikey to reintroduce dishes such as a chicken souvlaki. We have previously explored how, in the gap between filming Kitchen Nightmares and the episode's broadcast, loyal customers often complain about changes before the episode's publicity can attract new patrons. It's not only the restaurant owners who feel a bruise to their pride from the removal of their cherished dishes, but also the customers, who likely enjoyed these items enough to order them regularly in the first place. This reviewer mentioned having visited the Greek restaurant several times, and, although they liked the updated decor, they felt that the food wasn't good anymore. One reviewer went so far as to say Gordon ruined their favorite local restaurant. This reviewer criticized not only the changes to the food on the menu, like substituting tahini sauce for tzatziki sauce, but also expressed dissatisfaction with the decor updates made by Ramsay's team, such as the new wooden chairs, which they found very uncomfortable for extended sitting. The negative reviews had a common theme, being how they felt Gordon didn't help the place. Overall, it is a 3.5 rating on Yelp, which is not bad, but not great either. When popular YouTuber Brennan Taylor visited his restaurant and filmed a vlog while dining there, Mikey confirmed everything. Facing criticism from longtime patrons, Mikey adjusted the menu to reintroduce several classic dishes. Additionally, Mikey reversed some of the decor changes implemented by Chef Ramsay, including removing the uncomfortable wooden chairs. Mikey was also kinda pissed off that Ramsay's team had painted over the murals on the walls, which had originally cost him $10,000 to get painted. Perhaps most notably, Mikey claimed that the diners featured during Kitchen Nightmares were actually paid actors, which explained why so many dishes were returned to the kitchen. Mikey shared a little bit about his backstory, how he, as a Greek immigrant, came to America in the first place.
for cruise lines.
Oh wow.
For about 6 years
Yeah.
at sea.
Nice.
So I have experience.
Some vintage photos document his adventures around the globe while employed on cruise lines, a popular choice amongst Greeks, reflecting their country's deep maritime roots. These snapshots offer a glimpse of a younger Mikey and Lynn as they traveled through various European destinations. In addition to his career at sea, Mikey pursued his passion for long-distance running. One such moment captured in these photos show him competing in the 1991 Los Angeles Marathon, showcasing his dedication to the sport during his spare time. One thing is for certain, Greek at the Harbor continues to be a beloved spot in Ventura, having been open since 1994. This year marks its 30th anniversary, distinguishing it as one of the more successful ventures post-Kitchen Nightmares. Many restaurants featured on the show tend to close within a few years after their episodes air, but Greek at the Harbor has clearly bucked the trend. They continue to have belly dancing shows, a favorite with guests, although it looks like Aris is no longer biting tables anymore. Speaking of Aris, what's he been up to since his time on Kitchen Nightmares? Well, he's maintained his role as an entertainer, manager, server, bartender, expediter since 1994, according to his LinkedIn profile. Interestingly, he briefly explored the world of solar consulting at Varengo Solar from April to August 2015. In that interview with Brennan Taylor, Mikey said Aris was no longer doing his dancing at the restaurant, but has since ventured into cryptocurrency and was quite successful in that realm, at least as of 2021. Additionally, according to a 2020 Medium article, it appears that he was involved in the world of NFT artistry. He's even been spotted in a YouTube video alongside some prominent figures in the crypto community, operating under the moniker The Greek Freak, within the group Crypto Twerps. However, it appears that their website is no longer functional, and their social media profiles haven't been updated since 2021, suggesting that, like many NFT ventures, they may not have survived. On a personal note, Aris exchanged vows in a picturesque ceremony back in March 2019. Alongside this milestone, he's undergone a physical transformation, trading in his signature locks for a sleeker, shorter hairstyle, and has also embraced the rugged look of a well-groomed beard. As for Marika, it seems she stopped working at the restaurant in 2013, as she went on to serve at other restaurants for a few years following that, as per her LinkedIn. She then switched career paths in 2021 to become a respiratory care practitioner with Health Trust Workforce Solutions. She also served in that same role at Community Memorial Healthcare, where she has continued to work since January of 2021. Not only is 2024 the 30th anniversary of the restaurant, but in March 2024, a post on social media shows Mikey and Lynn celebrating their 45th wedding anniversary. Congratulations to them. Not much is known about Lynn, but she still appears to have a role at the restaurant and seems like she's doing well, just like Mikey. Overall, it's nice to see the family in good spirits and to see a rare case of a restaurant still running well beyond its appearance on Kitchen Nightmares.